And of course, you know, like when we talk about outer refuge, like, you know, in our tradition, we can talk about the manifested Buddha, or manifested master, or manifested knowledge, the teachings, the scripture. These are, of course, another form of refuge. But why they are important? Because they represent that place. Otherwise, in themselves, they are not meaningless. Especially in our tradition, we believe so much in, like, even a scripture writing of knowledge in a book. We put up our higher place. We burn candles, burn incense, put touch in our head, trying to receive blessings. Why that book is so important? Because what contains in that book, the message in that book is very important. Why that message is important? Because that message is about that essence. Therefore, everything becomes important. If it was not about that essence, then those books were just a piece of paper and ink. So, because of respecting that, we respect the book. So in the end, sometimes, as I said earlier, that in the end, sometimes people lose the essence and caught up with the form. We lose in the same way, many religions happen the same way. Same way in our individual sense, same thing. In the end, we caught up who we are, we caught up with what we possess. Or in our physical body, we get caught up with this body. It's not to say body is not important. Of course, body is important. Body needs to be taken care. It's important. It's also body. We say its body is very important because in the body, we say body is like a palace of divine. Ranglu Javi Chinkur. It's the body. Is the mandala of one's. One's body is the mandala of the divine. Body is important. Why body is important? The same reason. Why it's important? Because in this body, I can experience the essence. That's why the body is important. Otherwise, body is not important. Therefore, body is a door. So in order for me to get in touch with myself, that deep stillness that we all long for, that I long for very much, is my body gives the access to that. To my open attention to my body, I can access that experience, that wisdom in myself. Therefore, my body is very important. So, even to have that access to that place in the best way is also when people talk about doing yoga. The yoga basically is about that. You exercise, you keep these channels, energy centers open. You keep these channels open, not only just for the blood flow and blood flow, but to keep that energy flow, that awareness flow, that light flow in those places. In the end, we are able to experience these inner stillness in a form of light, inner stillness in a form of energy in this body. Therefore, this yoga is important. Therefore, these breathing exercises are important. Therefore, meditation is important. So in the end, what is most important is that stillness. And many times, people seems like kind of forget about that. So, and reason why I say, like, again, I'm repeating this again, is that this sense of stillness and silence and spaciousness, sometimes, for example, for ourselves, the challenge that we face, the pain that we face, is sometimes it's like a body, not only talking about the physical body, but also a body in a sense of identity. Identity is like who I feel I am, who I think I am. It's completely false idea of ourselves. So if you look anything challenges that you're facing, if you say, I'm really going through a tough time in my life right now, just think about it. This is typically we say, I'm really having a hard time. I'm going through a hard time. I am going through a hard time. I am going through a hard time. Right? I am going through a hard time. So this I, we keep on repeating, I am going through a hard time. I am facing challenge. I am getting old. I am sick. I. Who is that I? Is that really you? That's what you believe. That belief is the problem. That belief is the fundamental problem. The moment you have some sense of that, I am bigger than that I that I'm often saying, thinking and feeling and acting like that. Even a little sense of that, I begin to feel very free inside myself. And that's exactly what happened. Experientially, that's exactly what happens. The moment when I go through this skillful means, I'm trying to feel my stillness through my body, I arrive in a deep place of stillness. And the moment I'm feeling the sense of power of that place, it's automatically, that false sense is dissolving. Automatically, if that false sense of me is dissolving, the moment that false sense of me is dissolving, I begin to feel different. I'm beginning to feel okay. That the famous word, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Aging is okay, death is okay, this challenge is okay. I can forgive, I can let that go, no big deal. All these words are coming, where is it coming from? It's coming from dissolution of that false self, who is thinking, it is not okay. It's hurt me so long, so much. It's not acceptable. Who is that? Of course, there's a very, inside ourselves, we have a very clear sense of that. Who is that? Very strong. So, it is so important in a way, and that is the place what we need the protection from that ego, that I, that voices. So, when I say I, somehow we have to have some connection with that. So how do you connect with that? You don't connect with that having conversation with it. You don't connect with that negotiating with it. You don't connect with that trying to win from it. Or you don't connect with that trying to destroy it either. You connect with that when you are, when you're being. I mean, just maybe when you're into simply feeling it. When the moment I say, I am feeling pain, that moment, I go to my stillness, I go to my silence, I go to my spaciousness. From these three places, I hold that pain. I'm not allowing it to affect my stillness. I'm not allowing it to affect my silence in myself. I'm not trying it to affect my spaciousness of my mind, open awareness of my mind. I'm not trying to affect it. And I'm still allowing it, but I'm not allowing it to affect me. In that moment, I'm connecting with it. Because I'm feeling it, but it's not affecting me. The moment I come out from that silence, I'm saying, why are you here? I hate you. I'm working hard to get rid of you. You lost the contact. You should get rid of that voice first, then that pain. Because that voice is the producer of that pain. The pain is probably simply existing there. That voice is creating more. And you think that voice is the solution. That's mistaken. So therefore, because of that identity, the stillness, the door of the stillness is very important. Now, another situation, it's not so much about that identity. What I'm calling here is the pain body. That I is the pain body. It has its own speech, it has its own voice. And from that voice also we need protection. Sometimes we know how that voice in our head is so much bothering. You know, it's easy to get rid of people. It's easy to get rid of your job. It's easy to get divorced with somebody. But to get divorced with that voice is very difficult. You go to a beautiful holiday, its voice travels with you. You know, you go to the beach, it's there. Then that voice says, no, maybe the mountain is better. You know, you go to the mountain, it's there with the fresh air, you know. It travels with you. So that voice is very, very bothering. So how it's possible to overcome that voice? How is possible to overcome that voice? It's not possible to overcome that voice by talking with that voice, which is what we do. We wake up 2 in the morning, and somebody said, oh, I don't have a problem with my death, you know, I don't think about that, you know, I'm quite busy with my work and I'm quite happy during the day. I go out and have a lot of socializing things I do. But 2 in the morning, I begin to think about my death. Well, that sounds a very good time to do, right? Nobody is disturbing you. You can clearly focus on your death. You know. So what are you doing? You're thinking about that. Of course, there's some sense of issues of death is there. And 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning seems not a bad time to come up. So what are you doing? What do? You just conversation with it. Talking. It's very noisy. And it's very noisy, and you could not go to sleep. So what do? Of course you hate to talk. I mean, you hate that voice. But you kind of don't know the hating that voice is another voice. That talking with that voice is another voice. You kind of forget about that. So what do? Then what do I do? Well, what you do is trying to connect with silence.